Well, we're the two old guys that you'll see in the new Staking U video training products. And I wanted to have a chance to have a conversation about how we did this, and more importantly, how we did it for you, the student. So it's always been a hands-on experience that we've been told is our strong suit. That's what students like. We go out in the field for a big percentage of our class. We work with all kinds of instruments on all kinds of locates. And according to our students, that's what helps them learn the best. We do inside stuff, but they say it's the hands-on where they learn. So now we've got this big challenge with COVID. We need to develop products where we know the people aren't going to have the hands-on instruction. So how big of a task do you think that is, Paul?
I don't think it's a huge task. I think that we've always strived for that simplicity, command of the instrument, proper use of it, understanding of it's going to promote troubleshooting skills, and that's it. Don't overthink it. You know, you want to be able to assess the signal, you want to be able to assess what you're locating, you want to be able to assess the shape that basically deals with our accuracy. And if you don't have those three things, you do not have a good locate. I think of the ways that I was trained and what I wish people would have shown me. A lot of it was just information that was passed on from person to person and nothing that was ever proven or set in stone. And I think that's what we were able to establish here, is that, look, this is the way it actually is, and we can show you. So the people find it very interesting just in how the equipment works and the antenna configurations and being able to see inside of these. And the ability to determine, hey, this is what the receiver is actually trying to tell you. Now maybe I can go to my transmitter and adjust for it.
You know, imagine having to do an online course first and watch people locating at Staking University, passing your test for the video training, and then coming to Staking University and doing the same locate, but this time it's real. And your eyes and your interpretation of the instrument and how you apply the transmitter is all going to merge together at once. And clearly what we've tried to do is to give you that experience through a two-dimensional screen. But hey, if you can have that plus live instruction at the same locate that you saw, oh, you know, that's pretty cool. And I don't know entirely what to expect for that, but I can't think that it'd be anything but really, really good for the student.
So I'm the new guy here at Planet Underground. I've been working here for a little bit over a year, started in January of 2020. And much like these guys, you know, when you first start, you have no knowledge of the whole industry. And one of the main things that they wanted me to do was to edit all of their roundtable footage that they did just a few months prior.
The equipment seems to be so much more robust as far as features and benefits and what it can do without having to touch a button now, that having that base level best practices is even more important now, that the equipment can be more confusing to an operator that may not be seasoned.
Correct, without a doubt.
Would there be a way to work that into some type of curriculum?
I would call it continuing education.
One of the things people were talking about at the round table, and I heard numerous times, were people talking about the lack of training. I mean, there is no official training for locating. Anybody, if they wanted to, tomorrow could wake up, buy a locator, and start their own service if they wanted to. No training required or anything like that. So it's, you know, when you think of it that way, it's kind of scary just to know that somebody out there putting marks on the line could really have no idea what they're doing. With this project, I think that takes this whole entire training the locators to a whole different level. It's taking all of the knowledge, obviously, that these teachers here at Staking University know, and taking all of our skills at Planet Underground and putting them together.
I guess it's kind of interesting because there hasn't actually been a project like this for a business that is so important, like utilities and utility knowledge. And I gotta believe that just about every business, every company, every person now in 2021 is using video for everything, for learning, for teaching, really just for their product. So it's really just about time that video is now another avenue for people to learn about utilities. What's so good about video is that it can reach out to so many people who aren't with us now, people who are not in our country, people who don't speak our language, and video is really a language on its own. What's also really great about this is that for the person who has never learned about locating utilities, they will be able to understand it a lot quicker, and more people in general, because we want this to be worldwide. We want more people to understand it, and we want people to understand things faster. But not only that, the people who have been in the industry for so long, there are some things that we want them to actually unlearn because of the way things have been taught in the past. And video is another way to have that happen as well. So it's just kind of amazing that there hasn't been a product like this to really bring a learning management experience like this to people. And we're hoping to do that with this learning management system.
That's where this video training kind of gets a little better than the hands-on training in some aspect, because while you can sit in a classroom and explain how signal comes out and how it works and the science of it, we can actually show graphics and other information that's happening during the locate through video, and it really just gives you a full in-depth understanding of how a locator works. So a lot of this project focuses on locating training, and it's how to use multiple different locators, how to locate lines, how to ground, how to hook up properly, different frequencies, everything. But there's also 4 other parts of the training material.
So I guess what helps with me and the rest of us that work at Planet Underground, where we're more media focused, we didn't know all about utilities going into this. So in a way, we actually got like the first-hand look at what the training program is going to be. And for me, it was really eye-opening to learn how an electric utility, for example, goes from a power plant, where utilities come from A to Z, to our homes, how that works for telephone, gas, water. And like I said, it can teach not only locators, but people like me who know nothing about utility infrastructure. And it's something that's never been available through a video training platform.
That's why we have other parts to this training program besides the locator instrument training. Map reading, for instance, is a really interesting part of the program, I think. We have examples of maps where people have put electric lines on the wrong side of the road. Or people have confused one utility for another one. A three-phase electric cable could be depicted as 3 different lines on a map, or maybe just by drawing a symbol over it. There's no specific standard as to how to write your maps, nor is there any legend to show you what these symbols mean. So reading maps isn't just the end-all be-all to find the utility that you want to need. It's a very helpful tool to help you verify or get a clue about where what you're looking for is. If something looks confusing on a map, you still have to go out there and find it yourself.
There is a tickets and maps portion. It's a testing portion where you can test an employee on how well they can read a ticket and look at a map. This isn't so much an instructional lesson as it is a testing portion. We start by giving you a ticket. This ticket has an address and an extent, just like any other one-call ticket would. Then we give you the utility maps along with a Google image and an aerial image of the neighborhood to reference. In that aerial image, there'll be 14 intersections labeled, and once you click on one, we'll show you a short video of what the intersection looks like. The viewer has to answer some questions about what lies in that intersection. And then there's another portion, there's a visual observation portion that kind of goes with the tickets and maps. We go down the road just like you'd be walking down, and we highlight all the visual indicators for utilities on that street. The video has narration that talks about what utility the indicator represents, and for people new to the industry, it can teach them what to look out for in the field. Showing all the visual indicators and clues out in the field can really teach and prepare any excavator for when they're out there working. And it can help them avoid hitting unmarked utilities. As we said before, this knowledge does reach out universally, and we are confident that this project will get out to the world, not just the United States, because there's nothing like that that exists right now. And who better to make the product than Staking University and Plant Underground?
If the receiver is swung too high either side, the peak antenna and the null antenna can reverse. That's not how to say it. Let me do it again here. One of the things that I'm trying to do with piecing together the order of these videos is to deliver the right thing at the right time without the benefit of knowing who the viewer is. So why don't we take a look at a video? It has to do with something you brought up earlier about antenna configurations. And you know, these machines, they all work on the same principle, but we can't tell people that they all do exactly the same thing relative to you looking at the receiver. That would be a stretch. The concept's the same, the physics are the same, everything is the same. However, what we see clearly, at times we can see differences. Right. So we'll try to explain those differences to people.
Yeah, I don't think the average locator is going to be exposed to as many of the different scenarios that we get to see. So.
Or as many of the pieces of equipment, the manufacturers. We've kind of worked with them all and continue to get new things, but boy, with every new version of a machine, you go back to thinking, you know what? This is just like the 1970 machine, but now they've given you another way to interpret the same received information.
The electronic manipulation, not in a bad sense of the term, but yeah, they can make it look like whatever they want.
Yes, yeah. Well, Let's go over here and watch the video, and we'll come back for a wrap-up talking about what we're trying to achieve with getting the viewer to learn more. Here, we have the transmitter set up over a cable TV feeder. Within 4 foot is a 2-inch steel gas main. Yet you'd never see any sign of bleed off when you hold the receiver in the vicinity of the energized cable TV feeder. Now we'll move the transmitter over the steel gas main. Again, we see great signal over the gas line, but nothing over the parallel cable TV feeder. Now, every situation can be different from the one that preceded it and the one that followed it. But what we just showed is that induction can really be isolated on a target where you put the box directly atop. Existing locate people don't have a lot of continuing education. On the video products that we made and the live broadcast training that we're about to embark on, we do have a bit of a challenge in that the student we're so used to being right next to us could be anywhere in the world. And we strive to recreate what we do here in a face-to-face class through our training videos. And what makes you think that we can even be successful by doing those two things?
Well, you know, like you said, we get to be in front of a lot more people, but when I think back the way I was trained and the lack of exposure to other techniques and other people and other methods was very limited, and I located for a lot of years thinking that I knew everything about locating. And now I realize that I still don't know everything, but I am learning. And that's what it's all about. It's the key of being able to share information. You know, if we can do it on a bigger scale, not only will we become better, but the students will become better because we'll be able to reach out and touch more people.
Yeah, probably one of the biggest things people come into class with is the notion that there's kind of one way to locate. And oftentimes we're able to unlock something in their brain that allows them to realize that you can't do the same thing on 100% of your locates. If you stay in the same area, let's say as a contract locator and I'm just picking a town in Houston, and you may have changed companies over time, but you're still working with the same pool of locators. Your exposure to new things is somewhat limited by the collective experience of all these people locating the same utilities in the same city. And I think one of the greatest things that happens oftentimes in classes when somebody says, you know, I was always taught this way and I never had a reason to not believe it. And a lot of the things that I saw in the field would confirm this. And so I had this bias that this is exactly the way to do things all the time. You've shown me another way to do something, and I'm appreciative of that. And that's, you know, of course, where we receive our highest compliment is when somebody says, I've learned something and I didn't think I would, you know.
Right, taking the divider from private locating scenarios to the one call type style or locate scenario, in reality there shouldn't be and is no real difference between the end result, and that is, hey, do I have a signal? Am I on the right target? Am I accurate? No matter which side you're on, the end result is what I feel is important. but there is a lack of exposure if you're on one segment versus the other segment. You don't know the difference because you've never been exposed to it, so you do not understand what you do not know.
You know, again, learning it in a class is one thing, but until we get to like that, like Black Mirror, where you can record all your memories or something, you know, you just don't retain all that. And this is probably arguably the most important industry to actually do that. You know, it's one thing in math class or something, if you forget something and then you do bad on a test or something, but if you do bad on a test in this industry, you know, that could be life-threatening, you know. So to have video, to be able to go back and watch it, to you really use it to retain that information, I think is what will hopefully make this really successful. This is something that even after you're gone, that it can live on forever, you know, and that, or at least until, you know, the next big thing.
Continue to build.
Well, right. And so, but this is hopefully turning the page onto, or really it's time to, you know, it's 2020, it's time to bring the utility industry into 2020 as well. So hopefully we're sort of the pioneers in that, and I think maybe we are.
Well, we're recording this a week before Christmas in 2020, and whatever happens, we don't know right now.
Yeah.
So, we think we'll still be alive to finish this video project, but
Yeah, we're hopeful.
you guys have a better chance of that than I do. But
No, they're watching this because it was successful, so we did it.
Yeah. Yeah, if this ever airs, it worked.
Awesome. Tell them we're gonna put this out there.
Or after the apocalypse, someone finds this,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like, sounds really dumb.
well, it's a good thing we watched Dark, Kevin, because
Yeah,
we
yeah.
have an understanding of time travel.
Guess who just finished it the other night?
Oh, did you really? That's one of the challenges that I'm having in making the training material. I'm not going to be there, you're not going to be there to read the person, which is so important in a face-to-face environment. So we can't necessarily start everybody with the same series of videos and retain an engagement when we're not there like we can when we're with people.
It's a huge advantage to be able to see, look, this is the type of equipment I have and this is the information it's relaying to me. Even being able to go to an on-site and go to them in their arena and look at the things that they have to deal with on a daily basis and use their equipment to the best of its ability, then they're going to be able to make more logical decisions for sure.
Yeah, and you know, to kind of wrap this conversation up, you know, it's been 10 years since our last video training, and we're not going to be here, you and I, 10 years from now. So we're going to have to use the tools that we're creating right now to help bring the next generation along and to have the understanding that we have today and build on that for the next time there's a major revision to this material. Who knows what's going to happen in the world of animation and cameras and film, and can safely say we won't be putting on X-ray vision glasses to see where utilities are. So we're probably still going to be using this type of equipment, but imagine what's going to change in 10 years.
Right, yeah, the foundation was set many years ago, and you know, the legacy continues.
Paul, enjoyed talking with you today, buddy. Back to work, right?